And then finally, and this is the thing I find most determinative and important, is that we've spent a lot of the past 2 years working hard as a council and a community towards expanding available properties for primary employment. Just a few months ago, we passed a zoning code that would expand the allowable uses on this property significantly and allow it to be used for primary employment. This was the town's preferred strategy to the quote unquote Amazon effect, was to expand those allowable uses and to immediately go through and rezone those properties which just have expanded uses made available to them to to high density residential. Doesn't allow them the time to try and see if we can make those uses work for us to try and follow through on that primary employment uses. Our strategic leadership plan states in 1A that we will analyze and develop strategies to expand available properties for primary employment. And then we came through and we did make those changes to this. And so in one of the staff reports, we took a look at the remaining amount of buildable space that was available for primary employment related land. And the buildable space, it says, is reduced to roughly 188 acres that's available for employment land. And some of that buildable space for employment land also has alternative uses of senior care and residential available on it. So, I mean, Oro Valley has, we did a comparison of Oro Valley compared to Marana, Scottsdale, Chandler, and we found that we had a significant deficit in opportunities to bring in primary employers based on the primary employment land that was available. It said to meet the goal in our community and economic development strategies, the town would need at least 300 acres of employment land available within the next 10 years. So in order to do that, we took an action, which we did follow through on, of commercial districts C1 and 2, which account for 284 acres of vacant land, which is not in high demand for retail. By allowing more employment uses in commercial zones that are low impact and function similarly to the existing permitted commercial uses, the town can meet employment space demand. So, I kind of take from that we had this deficit in employment space demand, and that was something that we needed to do. So we followed through and we made this land available for primary employment and expanded its uses. And I don't feel like just a few months later, we should go through and rezone that land for residential uses immediately after doing that. I don't disagree that this particular land is challenged in terms of a retail standpoint. And most of what's been discussed about the land has to do with retail and whether or not we could put retail on that land. However, the land now has several available uses for primary employment, and even as neighborhood commercial office, it's primarily intended to be office space and less about retail. I do think that corner section that's remaining commercial, even in this proposal, is intended to be more of a retail space, but this space was always intended to be more like offices. That's why it's neighborhood commercial office. And we've since expanded the zoning allowances on that property.